The champagne glass shattered against the marble floor. Victoria stood in the center of the grand bookstore, her ex-husband's grand bookstore, watching elderly women weep as they hugged Daniel, watching the mayor shake his hand, watching the banner unfurl. Catherine Webb Memorial Community Center, founded by Daniel Webb, philanthropist. Philanthropist? Her mother's face turned gray. That's not possible. Ryan, Victoria's new fiancé, stepped backward, his expensive shoes crunching on glass. The same Ryan who'd said 3 months ago, "Some people are meant for different levels, buddy." Now Marcus Webb, billionaire Marcus Webb, stood at the microphone, voice breaking. "My late wife Catherine gave away over $400 million in her lifetime. Quietly, humbly, and she raised our son to do the same." Victoria's knees buckled. Have you ever thrown away something precious because you didn't recognize its value? Have you ever judged someone's bank account instead of their heart? Victoria did. And what she's about to discover will haunt her forever. But how did the man she called a broke loser at his own mother's funeral end up owning half the buildings in the city? If you want to see how karma delivers the most devastating revenge, hit that like button right now and subscribe, because this story will leave you speechless. 3 months earlier, Daniel Webb signed the divorce papers with hands that wouldn't stop shaking. Not because he loved Victoria anymore. That died the moment she laughed during his mother's eulogy. His hands shook because he'd buried his mother 4 days ago, and his wife was leaving him before the flowers on the grave had wilted. "Just sign it, Daniel." Victoria's voice echoed in the empty apartment. Their apartment. His apartment now. For 2 more weeks until eviction. Her mother, Patricia, stood by the door, arms crossed, lips curled. "We've wasted enough time here." Daniel looked up. "Your daughter married me 2 years ago. My mother just died. You can't wait 1 month." Patricia laughed, a sharp, ugly sound. "Wait for what? For you to magically get money? Your little bookstore is closing. You have nothing. You are nothing." Victoria snatched the papers from the table. "Ryan has a real career, Mom. He's a hedge fund manager." "Ryan." Daniel said the name like it tasted bitter. "Your co-worker. The guy you said was just a friend." "Don't." Victoria's eyes flashed. "Don't you dare judge me. I stood by you for 2 years while you played pretend entrepreneur, while you refused real jobs to run that stupid bookstore your mother encouraged. Well, she's gone now. Reality is here." Daniel's throat tightened. "That stupid bookstore was my mother's dream. Your mother was a cleaner, Daniel, a maid who scrubbed rich people's toilets." Patricia's voice dripped with venom. "She filled your head with fairy tales instead of pushing you toward success. Now look at you, 32 years old, broke and alone." The words hit like fists. Daniel's mother, Catherine, had worked as a housekeeper, cleaning homes, doing laundry, smiling through exhaustion. She'd raised him alone after his father left when he was 2. She'd never complained, never stopped believing he could be anything. And these 2 women, who'd eaten at her table, who'd accepted her gifts, who'd cried fake tears at her funeral, were spitting on her memory. "Sign the papers." Victoria's tone turned ice cold. "Or I'll make this ugly in court." Daniel signed. Victoria grabbed them and walked out without looking back. Patricia paused at the door. "You know what the saddest part is?" Patricia smiled. "You actually thought you were good enough for her." The door slammed. Daniel sat in the silence. Boxes everywhere. Eviction notice on the counter. Bills stacked like tombstones. His phone buzzed. Another creditor. He ignored it. On the coffee table sat a pile of unopened mail. Sympathy cards mostly. A few bills. And one thick envelope with a law firm's name embossed in gold. Whitfield and Associates. Daniel stared at it, but didn't open it. Not yet. Not tonight. Tonight, he just sat in the dark and let the weight of the world crush him. Evelyn from the flower shop was the first person to check on him. She knocked softly, holding a casserole dish. "I know you're probably not eating." Daniel tried to smile. Failed. "Thanks, Evelyn. Your mama was a good woman." Evelyn's eyes misted. "Best customer I ever had. Every week. Fresh flowers." She said they made people happy. Daniel nodded, not trusting his voice. You're like her, you know. Evelyn squeezed his arm. Good people always land on their feet. But Daniel wasn't landing. He was falling. The bookstore closed 3 weeks after the funeral. Couldn't make rent. Couldn't pay staff. The last day, he stood in the empty space where his mother used to sit by the window, reading to kids every Saturday morning. We'll find another dream, she'd told him once. Dreams don't die unless you let them. But Daniel felt dead inside. His phone buzzed. A text from Victoria's mother. Heard the store closed. Not surprised. Some people just aren't built for success. He blocked the number. Another buzz. Ryan this time. Hey man, no hard feelings about V. You seem like a good guy. Just different leagues, you know? Different leagues. Daniel threw his phone across the room. That night, alone in his new studio apartment, the only place he could afford, he finally opened the envelope from Whitfield and Associates. Inside was a letter requesting his presence. Urgent. Regarding the estate of Catherine Marie Webb. Estate? His mother had no estate. She'd lived in a small rental. Worked until the cancer made her too weak to stand. Died with maybe $3,000 in savings. What estate? Daniel called the number. A polished voice answered immediately. Mr. Webb, we've been trying to reach you. Can you come to our office tomorrow at 10? I don't understand. All will be explained in person. Please bring identification. The line went dead. Whitfield and Associates occupied the top 3 floors of the tallest building downtown. Daniel felt out of place in his wrinkled jacket and scuffed shoes. Everyone here looked like they bought cars with cash. Mr. Webb? A receptionist smiled. Mr. Whitfield is waiting. She led him to a corner office overlooking the city. Behind a massive desk sat an older man with silver hair and sharp eyes. Daniel. Whitfield stood, extending his hand. Please sit. I'm sorry for your loss. Your mother was an extraordinary woman. You knew her for 30 years. Whitfield's expression softened. She hired me when you were 2 years old. Made me promise to handle everything when the time came. Handle what? Whitfield opened a folder. Your mother's estate, which includes liquid assets totaling $347 million, property holdings valued at approximately $200 million, and various trust accounts set up in your name. The room tilted. I'm sorry, what? You've inherited over $500 million, Daniel. The words didn't make sense. Couldn't make sense. That's impossible. My mother cleaned houses. Your mother owned houses. Whitfield slid documents across the desk. 73 residential properties, 4 commercial buildings, and significant stock portfolios managed under shell corporations to maintain privacy. Daniel's hands trembled as he picked up the papers. Property addresses he recognized. Buildings he'd walked past 1,000 times. How? Whitfield leaned back. Your father, Marcus Webb, is the founder of Webb Industries. When he left, your mother negotiated a settlement. A very, very substantial settlement. But she made him sign an ironclad agreement. He could never contact you, never claim you, never interfere with your life. In exchange, she received enough money to ensure you'd never want for anything. But we struggled. We were poor. You were raised humbly, Whitfield corrected gently. There's a difference. Your mother believed wealth corrupts character. She wanted you to understand hard work, compassion, and humility before you understood money. She worked as a housekeeper because she chose to, because she loved helping people. Every dollar she earned, she gave away. Every dollar from your father, she invested. Whitfield pulled out another document, a handwritten letter. She asked me to give you this. Daniel's vision blurred as he unfolded his mother's familiar handwriting. My dearest Daniel, if you're reading this, I'm gone. And I'm so sorry I couldn't tell you the truth while I was alive. Your father loved us once. Then money changed him, made him cold, distant, cruel. I didn't want that for you. I've watched you grow into a man who gives more than he takes, who values people over profit, who treats the janitor with the same respect as the CEO. That is wealth, my son. That is success. Now you have money. Real money. Use it wisely. Use it kindly. And remember, not everyone who claims to love you actually does. People will change when they learn what you have. Let them reveal themselves first. I'm so proud of you. Asterisk love, always. Mom. Daniel couldn't breathe. She planned everything, Whitfield said quietly, even her burial. She wanted you to experience loss without the complication of sudden wealth, to see who stood by you when you had nothing. Victoria, Ryan, Patricia, they'd shown him exactly who they were. What do I do now? Daniel's voice cracked. Whitfield smiled. Whatever you want, but if I may suggest, don't tell anyone yet. Watch, learn, then decide. Daniel looked out the window at the city below. Somewhere down there, Victoria was probably laughing with Ryan. Patricia was probably mocking his name to her friends. They thought he was nothing. They had no idea. Mr. Whitfield? Yes. That building. The one where I was being evicted from. Who owns it? Whitfield checked his computer. You do. Your mother purchased it 8 years ago. And the building where Ryan lives? The luxury apartments on 5th. Another check. Also yours. Daniel smiled for the first time in weeks. Not a happy smile. A knowing smile. I'd like to keep this quiet for now, Daniel said slowly. Can we set up a modest monthly allowance? Enough to live simply but not lavishly. Of course. And I'd like to start a project. Something my mother would have loved. Name it. Daniel stood, feeling something shift inside him. Purpose, maybe, or justice. I want to buy back the bookstore, renovate it, turn it into a community center. Books, programs, help for people who need it. No cost, all free. Whitfield's smile widened. Your mother would be proud. One more thing. Daniel's voice hardened. Victoria invited me to a dinner party next week. Some kind of no hard feelings gathering. I'd like to accept. Are you sure that's wise? Daniel thought of his mother's letter. Let them reveal themselves. I'm sure, he said. I want to see exactly who these people are when they think I'm at my lowest. Daniel moved into a modest apartment, drove his old car, dressed in simple clothes. To the world, he looked exactly like a man whose life had fallen apart. Perfect. His phone buzzed one afternoon. Victoria. Hey, I know things ended badly. Ryan and I are having a dinner party Saturday. Just a few friends. No drama, I promise. Would mean a lot if you came. Show we're mature adults. Daniel stared at the message. Ryan had texted earlier. V says you might come Saturday. Good man. Take strength to face your fears. LOL. We'll take care of you. Take care of him. Like he was a charity case. Daniel typed back to Victoria. I'll be there. Saturday arrived. Daniel wore a clean but cheap button-down. Took the bus, even though he now owned the bus company. The dinner was at Ryan's penthouse. Daniel's penthouse, technically, in Daniel's building. But Ryan didn't know that. The elevator opened to marble floors and crystal chandeliers. Laughter echoed from the living room. Daniel stepped inside. Victoria saw him first. Her smile was all teeth, no warmth. Daniel, you came. Ryan appeared, drink in hand, expression oozing false sympathy. Buddy, glad you could make it. Must be tough, you know, everything you're going through. I'm managing, Daniel said quietly. Patricia emerged from the kitchen, eyes scanning him like he was dirt. She stepped in. Daniel, still looking for work, still figuring things out. Well, Patricia sipped her wine. At least you're trying. That's something. The other guests arrived, Ryan's colleagues, Victoria's new friends. All polished, all wealthy, all looking at Daniel like he was a museum exhibit labeled failure. Dinner was worse. Ryan held court at the head of the table, talking about his latest investment wins. Victoria laughed too loud at his jokes, touching his arm, glancing at Daniel to make sure he saw. So Daniel, one of Ryan's friends, said, smirking, what do you do now that the bookstore closed? Odd jobs. Thinking about options. Options? Patricia laughed. That's a nice way to say unemployment. Victoria leaned forward. You know, Ryan's firm is looking for mailroom help. I could put in a word. Mailroom. The table went quiet, waiting for his reaction. Daniel smiled. That's kind. I'll think about it. Ryan nodded sagely. It's honest work, man. Nothing wrong with starting at the bottom. Some of us just have different paths, you know? Different paths. Daniel sipped his water and said nothing. After dinner, Ryan cornered him on the balcony. City lights sparkled below. Lights Daniel's mother had looked at every night from her small rental, knowing she could have lived anywhere but choosing humility. Look, Ryan said, voice low. I know this is weird. Me and V. But she's happy now, and that's what matters, right? Is she? Ryan's smile faltered. What's that supposed to mean? Nothing. Daniel looked at him. Really looked. Saw the expensive watch. The tailored suit. The arrogance masking insecurity. Just wondering if happiness is something you buy or something you build. Ryan's face darkened. Dude, don't be bitter. V needed someone stable. Someone with prospects. You're a good guy, but come on. You were never going to give her the life she deserves. The life she deserves, Daniel repeated softly. Yeah, this. Ryan gestured at the penthouse. Security. Comfort. A future. Not some fantasy about saving the world with used books. Daniel smiled. That same knowing smile from Whitfield's office. You're right, he said. Some people are meant for different levels. Ryan clapped his shoulder, missing the double meaning entirely. Exactly. See? You get it. That's maturity, buddy. The elevator doors closed on Ryan's satisfied smirk. Daniel stood alone, descending through his building, wearing his smile. Not yet, not tonight, but soon, very soon, they'd see exactly what level he was on, and it would destroy them. Monday morning, Daniel sat across from Whitfield again. I need everything structured for maximum privacy, Daniel said. No public records linking me to properties, businesses, or accounts. Can you do that? Whitfield nodded. Already done. Your mother insisted on it years ago. Shell corporations, trusts, offshore holdings. You're a ghost on paper. Good. Daniel pulled out a notebook. The bookstore property. I want to purchase the entire block. Renovate everything. Turn it into something the community actually needs. Budget, whatever it takes. But I want my mother's name on it, not mine. Whitfield made notes. Admirable. What else? Daniel hesitated. The building where Ryan lives. The luxury apartments. I want to know everything about his lease terms, financial standing, employment verification he provided. Planning something? Just watching, Daniel said quietly. Like my mother told me to. Over the next 6 weeks, Daniel moved like a shadow. He met with architects who designed a stunning transformation. The old bookstore will become the Catherine Webb Memorial Community Center. Free library, after-school programs, job training, spaces for local artists. Everything his mother had believed in. He approved contractors, reviewed budgets, signed documents under corporate names that meant nothing to anyone but him. And he watched. Ryan posted constantly on social media. Photos of Victoria in expensive restaurants. Captions about the good life and knowing your worth. Victoria posted too. Pictures of her hand showing off a massive engagement ring. Sometimes you have to let go of what's holding you back to find what lifts you up. The comments were full of congratulations. Daniel saw one from Patricia. So proud of you for choosing happiness over charity cases. Charity cases. Daniel closed the app. His phone buzzed. Evelyn from the flower shop. Saw the construction starting at your mama's bookstore. What's happening there? It looks big. Daniel smiled. Something good. You'll see soon. Another text. This one from a number he didn't recognize. Mr. Webb, this is Marcus Webb, your father. I heard about Catherine's passing. I'd like to meet. Please. Daniel stared at the message for a long time. 30 years of silence. 30 years of absence. And now, suddenly interest. He deleted it without responding. Some bridges burned for a reason. 2 months after the funeral, The rumors started. Someone saw the construction. Someone asked questions. Someone discovered that Catherine Webb had been more than just a housekeeper. Daniel's phone exploded. First, a voicemail from Ryan. "Hey, buddy. Heard some crazy rumors about your mom having money? Probably BS. But if you need help navigating any estate stuff, I know people. Call me." Then Victoria. "Daniel, I heard something weird. About your mother? Call me. We should talk. Seriously." Then Patricia. Suddenly sweet. "Daniel, honey, I may have been hasty about some things I said. Grief makes people cruel. I'd love to take you to lunch. Clear the air." Honey. She'd never called him honey in 2 years of marriage. Daniel didn't call back. Instead, he scheduled the grand opening of the Catherine Webb Memorial Community Center for 3 weeks out. He hired Marcus Webb's public relations team, without Marcus knowing, to invite the mayor, city council, local press, and every community organization in the city. And he sent personal invitations to 3 people: Victoria Martinez, Ryan Castellano, Patricia Martinez. The invitations were elegant, expensive cardstock, gold embossing. "You are cordially invited to the grand opening of the Catherine Webb Memorial Community Center, a celebration of a life spent in service to others. Please join us in honoring her legacy." Victoria called within an hour. "Daniel, this is beautiful. I had no idea you were planning this. How are you paying for all of it?" "Donations," Daniel said simply. "People who love my mother." "That's wow. Ryan and I will definitely be there. We'd love to support you." "Support. See you then," Daniel said and hung up. Ryan texted, "Bro, this center thing is classy. Respect. Shows real character bouncing back. Need any funding help? My firm does community investment." Translation: Ryan smelled money and wanted in. Patricia called, voice dripping with false warmth. "Daniel, I'm so sorry for everything I said. I was wrong. Your mother was clearly an incredible woman, and you're honoring her beautifully. I'll be there with bells on." With bells on. Daniel almost laughed. They were circling like sharks who'd smell blood in the water. Perfect. Saturday arrived with perfect weather. The Catherine Webb Memorial Community Center stood transformed. The old bookstore was now a modern, welcoming space with floor-to-ceiling windows, warm lighting, and walls lined with books. Children's reading areas, computer labs, meeting rooms, an art gallery featuring local creators. Outside, a huge banner stretched across the building. In memory of Catherine Marie Webb, a woman who gave everything. Hundreds of people filled the street. News cameras, politicians, community members. And in the back, wearing designer clothes and forced smiles, stood Victoria, Ryan, and Patricia. Daniel watched them from a second-floor window. Victoria kept looking around nervously. Ryan was on his phone, probably researching Catherine Webb's net worth. Patricia's face was frozen in a tight smile, eyes calculating. Whitfield appeared beside Daniel. "Ready?" "Almost." "Who's speaking first?" "Mayor. Then some community members your mother helped. Then Marcus Webb requested to say a few words." "My father is here?" Daniel's stomach tightened. He insisted, said it was important. Whitfield paused. "You don't have to see him if you don't want to." Daniel looked down at the crowd, at Victoria whispering urgently to Ryan, at Patricia scanning the room like a hunter. "Let him speak," Daniel said quietly. "My mother's story deserves to be told completely." The ceremony began. The mayor spoke about community investment and civic duty, buzzwords that meant nothing. Then an elderly woman named Mrs. Chun took the microphone, voice shaking. "Catherine Webb paid for my daughter's surgery 15 years ago. We were immigrants. No insurance. No money. My daughter was dying." Mrs. Chun wiped her eyes. "Catherine showed up at the hospital with a check for $60,000. When I asked how to repay her, she said, 'Pay it forward when you can.' Because of her, my daughter is alive. Because of her, I have grandchildren." Murmurs rippled through the crowd. A young man spoke next. "Catherine Webb paid my college tuition. All 4 years. I'd never met her. She just heard about my situation and showed up. I'm a teacher now because of her. Another woman. She bought my family's building when we were facing eviction, lowered our rent to nothing, let us stay for free until we got back on our feet. Another. She funded the youth center on 5th Street. Never put her name on anything. Just gave and gave. The stories kept coming. 10 people. 20. Each one telling how Catherine Webb had quietly changed their lives with money no one knew she had. Victoria's face went pale. Ryan had stopped looking at his phone. Patricia stood frozen, mouth slightly open. Then Marcus Webb took the stage. He was older than Daniel expected. Silver hair, expensive suit, eyes that looked tired and sad. I didn't know Catherine was gone until a month after she died, Marcus began, voice rough. Because 30 years ago, I made a choice. I chose money over family. I chose business over love. And Catherine, brilliant, Principal Catherine, made me a deal I couldn't refuse. The crowd was silent. She said I could keep my company, my lifestyle, my ambitions, but I could never contact our son, never interfere with his life, never taint him with my choices. In exchange, she took a settlement that would ensure Daniel never needed me. Marcus's voice cracked. I thought she was being vindictive. I thought she'd spend it on herself. Prove she was just like everyone else who wanted my money. He looked directly at Daniel in the window. But Catherine wasn't like everyone else. She took that money and gave it away. For 30 years, hundreds of millions of dollars, distributed quietly to people who needed it. She worked as a housekeeper not because she had to, but because she wanted to serve others. She raised our son to value character over cash. And she did it all while I built skyscrapers and forgot what mattered. Marcus's eyes glistened. My late wife Catherine taught me that wealth without purpose is just paper. And our son, he gestured toward the window where Daniel stood, is proof that her way was right. This center, this legacy, this is what real success looks like. The crowd erupted in applause. Daniel's hands trembled. Marcus continued. Daniel Webb is the sole heir to Catherine's estate, which was valued at over $500 million at her death. He could have spent it on anything. Instead, he built this, a place that honors his mother by helping others the way she always did. $500 million. The words echoed through the speakers. Victoria grabbed Ryan's arm, nearly falling. Patricia made a sound like a wounded animal. Every eye in the crowd turned, searching for Daniel. He descended the stairs slowly, deliberately, walked through the crowd as people parted, stepped onto the stage. The applause was deafening. Daniel took the microphone, looking out at hundreds of faces, found Victoria, Ryan, and Patricia in the back, all staring at him like he was a stranger. My mother used to say that you learn who people are when you have nothing, Daniel said quietly. The room went silent, straining to hear. She was right. When she died, I lost everything. Or so I thought. Lost my wife, lost my home, lost my business. And in that darkness, I learned exactly who cared about me and who cared about what I could give them. Victoria's face flushed red. This center isn't about me, Daniel continued. It's about my mother's belief that everyone deserves a chance, that kindness is currency, that how you treat people when they can't benefit you reveals your true character. He looked directly at Victoria, Ryan, and Patricia. Some people pass that test. Some people don't. And that's okay, because the truth always comes out eventually. The crowd applauded again. Daniel handed the microphone back and walked off stage. Immediately, Victoria pushed through the crowd, Ryan and Patricia behind her. Daniel, wait. He turned in the hallway, face neutral. Victoria's eyes were wild. Why didn't you tell me? About the money? About any of this? You never asked about my mother's life, Daniel said calmly. You asked about her death, about what she left behind, about when you could move on. That's not fair. You called her a maid who filled my head with fairy tales, Daniel said, voice still quiet, still controlled. You left me 4 days after a funeral. You mocked me at dinner parties. You offered me a mailroom job out of pity. Ryan stepped forward, face pale. Man, if we'd known. Known what? Daniel's eyes were cold. That I had money? That's the only thing that would have changed your behavior. No. I mean, Ryan stammered. We would have been more supportive. You would have been fake, Daniel interrupted. Like you're being right now. Patricia pushed past them, voice shrill. Daniel, honey, you have to understand. We were grieving too. We said things we didn't mean. Victoria loves you. She made a mistake. Victoria loves money, Daniel said simply. And the moment she thought I didn't have any, she left. That's not a mistake. That's a choice. Please. Victoria's voice broke. Tears streamed down her face. I was scared. I panicked. But I never stopped caring about you. We can fix this. We can start over. With my money? Daniel tilted his head. Or with me? With you? I swear. You're still wearing his ring. Daniel nodded at the massive diamond on her finger. Ryan's ring. Victoria looked down like she'd forgotten it was there. I can explain. No need. Daniel's voice was gentle now. Final. Ryan, Victoria, I hope you're happy together. I genuinely mean that. Patricia, I hope you find whatever you're looking for. But none of you will find it with me. He turned to walk away. You're being cruel. Patricia shouted. We made mistakes. Are you going to punish us forever? Daniel stopped. Look back. I'm not punishing you, he said quietly. I'm just not rewarding you. There's a difference. He walked away, leaving them standing in the hallway, surrounded by strangers celebrating his mother's kindness. Their cries for him to wait faded behind closing doors. Daniel's life transformed. The community center thrived. Hundreds of people used it daily. Local news ran features on Catherine Webb's secret philanthropy. Daniel gave interviews, always deflecting credit to his mother. He started dating Evelyn from the flower shop. Slowly, carefully. She knew him when he had nothing and treated him exactly the same now that she knew he had everything. Money doesn't change who you are, she told him once. It just reveals it. His mother's words in a different voice. Marcus Webb reached out several times. Daniel finally agreed to coffee. They sat in awkward silence for 10 minutes before Marcus spoke. I don't expect forgiveness, he said. I don't deserve it. But I want you to know your mother was the best person I ever knew. And you're just like her. Daniel sipped his coffee. She never spoke badly about you. I know. Marcus's voice cracked. That made it worse. She could have poisoned you against me. Instead, she just let me disappear. Let me live with my choices. Why did you leave? Fear. Marcus looked old suddenly. I was 25, scared of responsibility, convinced I needed to conquer the world before I could be a father. By the time I realized I was wrong, Catherine had already built a better life for you than I ever could have given. They talked for 2 hours. It didn't fix 30 years of absence, but it was a start. Daniel left feeling lighter. Then his phone rang. Ryan. Daniel almost declined, answered instead. What? I need help. Ryan's voice was desperate. Panicked. My firm is investigating me. Insider trading allegations. If they find proof, I'm going to prison. Silence. Daniel, please. I know I was horrible to you. I know I don't deserve anything. But I have information about my investors, my accounts. I can't hire the lawyers I need. I'm broke. Everything's frozen. Broke. Daniel repeated softly. I'm sorry. For everything. You were right. About all of it. Ryan's voice broke. I'm begging you. A loan. A reference. Anything. Daniel thought about the dinner party. The elevator. Some people are meant for different levels, buddy. I can't help you, Ryan. Please. I can't help you, Daniel repeated. Because helping you now would teach you nothing. You need to face the consequences of your choices. Just like I had to face mine. This is revenge, Ryan spat. You're punishing me because I took Victoria. You didn't take Victoria. Daniel's voice was calm. She chose you, and now she has you. That's punishment enough. He hung up. Minutes later, Victoria called. Daniel, please talk to Ryan. He's falling apart. He made his choices. So you're just going to watch him suffer? That's cruel. It's consequence, Daniel corrected. I offered you kindness when you had everything and I had nothing. You laughed at me. Now Ryan needs kindness, and I'm giving him exactly what you gave me. Nothing. I loved you, Victoria screamed. I made a mistake. You love the idea of me, Daniel said quietly. The guy who'd be so grateful you chose him that he'd worship you forever. But I wasn't that guy. I was just a man who loved his mother and tried to do good. That wasn't enough for you then. My money is enough for you now. So what, you're just done? Moving on? Pretending we meant nothing. Daniel thought about Evelyn, about the community center, about his mother's letter. You meant something once, he said, but people change. Or maybe they just reveal who they always were. He ended the call, blocked the number, sat in the silence of his modest apartment. The one he kept despite being able to afford penthouses, and felt something he hadn't felt in months. Peace, not revenge, not satisfaction, just peace. The divorce was finalized on a Tuesday. Victoria got nothing. The prenup she'd insisted on ironically protected Daniel completely. Ryan went to prison for 8 months. Patricia moved away, tail between her legs. Daniel heard through mutual acquaintances that Victoria and her mother blamed him for everything, called him vindictive, claimed he'd tricked them. He didn't respond. The Catherine Webb Memorial Community Center expanded into 3 more locations. Daniel funded them quietly, working behind the scenes, avoiding publicity. He married Evelyn in a small ceremony. No press, no spectacle, just people who actually loved them. Marcus Webb attended, cried through the vows. Afterward, he pulled Daniel aside. Your mother would be so proud. I know, Daniel said, and he did know. He felt it every day. On the 1-year anniversary of Catherine's death, Daniel stood at her grave. New flowers, bright, beautiful ones from Evelyn's shop. I get it now, Mom, he whispered. Why you waited. Why you made me struggle. You wanted me to know who I was before the world tried to tell me. The wind rustled through the trees. Daniel smiled. I know who I am, and I know who they are. Thank you for teaching me the difference. He walked back to his car, where Evelyn waited, smiling. Behind him, the sun set on the city his mother had quietly transformed. And Daniel Webb, heir to billions, son of Catherine, student of kindness, drove home to a life built not on what he had, but on who he was. Some people never learned that lesson, but that was their loss, not his. If this story hit you right in the heart, smash that like button. Drop a comment telling me what you would have done in Daniel's position. Would you have helped Ryan? Taken Victoria back? Let me know. And subscribe for more stories about karma, justice, and people getting exactly what they deserve. Because in a world where bad behavior often goes unpunished, sometimes the best revenge is just being better. See you in the next one. Peace.